Five, four, three. Hi, everybody. Dugroz here with Dugroz Reports, reporting live from my house. And if you have never noticed, I broadcast or record from this room, which is a guest bedroom and doubles as my office. If you're curious, I work from home 4 days a week, so having a home office very much comes in handy. Sam is already on board from the United Kingdom, probably joining us somewhere around 4:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. How you doing, Sam? Thanks for joining in. Big Jim's American Dream is on board. I don't think I've met you here online before, Big Jim. So welcome aboard. Glad you could join us. As is Stan the Credit Frog, starting his morning with some Dugroz. Maxwell Irwin, welcome aboard. I don't recognize your name, so glad to see you here. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. Every time I do a live stream, I have a theme. The theme is not something we're going to talk about the whole time. It's just sort of a filler. So when there's questions that are, if I run out of questions, that's what we'll talk about. Today's theme is Citi cards. So the Citi Premier, the Citi Custom Cash, the Citi Double Cash, the Citi Rewards Plus. I am close to getting the Citi Quartet, and hopefully I'll be able to. I would really like to be able to make a video where I sing the introduction in the style of a quartet while holding up my Citi cards. I did a little bit of singing in high school and college. Not that I'm great, but at least it would be entertaining. I have the Rewards Plus. That was the first Citi card I got quite a long time ago, the Premier, and the Custom Cash. So I just need to add the Double Cash. And since there's actually a sign-up bonus right now, now's the time, it sounds like. Does anyone out there know when that sign-up bonus ends? It probably hasn't been announced yet. Haymarket, Virginia is where Big Jim is reporting in from. Sam says it's 3:30 Greenwich Mean Time. So I was off by an hour. My apologies. Matt Clausen's of Matt Clausen's Credit Card News and Opinion has shown up. Act late. You're not very late. There's only 9 of us in the room here, Matt. But glad to see you on board. I am ready, finally, after a mere 3 months, to post my video about the Las Vegas Creator Meetup breakdown. I did mention it briefly in something previously, but the actual, here's how much I paid, here's where we stay, here's the points used, my rip trip accounting. It's ready to go, and that will launch on Monday. You may have noticed late last night on my community tab, I put up some photos from the meetup with a little bit of a twist, an artificial intelligence generated boost from those photos. Jonathan Davis is on board. Thanks for being here, Jonathan. Good to see you. Jonathan, good to see you. As always, before we dive into the topics, I will mention that you can become a member, a Dugroz diehard, for only $3 a month. You can join anytime. That's where I keep my videos that are not quite appropriate for the YouTube algorithm because they're either too sensitive or too nerdy. YouTube punishes you when you make unpopular videos, so I've had some good reactions to those. Thank you to the diehards, David Hamilton, Jacob Hess, Kevin Ellis, Scott Saul, PM, Sean D, Shad Kerr, Chad Pennycuff, and the one CEO. Thank you for being diehards. Big Jim says, product changed my Citi Premier to the Citi Custom Cash this week. Hey, that's a good move. If you're not planning to run with Citi Point strategy, that's perfect. All right, I mentioned the Vegas video. I mentioned my members, and that's all I had for prepared content. Pardon me. I guess I said in November I sometimes have a runny nose because of seasonal stuff. Apparently, talking for long periods of time always makes me have a runny nose. So I'm sorry, folks. I guess I'll permanently blow my nose in these videos forever. One moment. I probably shouldn't go into radio broadcasting anytime soon. Let's do the quarter in a quarter update. So for those of you who may not know, the quarter in a quarter is a challenge that I issue to fellow creators and other viewers to earn 250,000 points during the fourth quarter of 2021, 2023. Let's see how I'm doing. So my player 2 signed up for an Inc. Business Cash. That's 90,000 points. Not locked in yet. We've got about $800 to spend to go, but I'm very confident that'll be done by the end of December. I got a 40,000 point referral because I referred her. That's all Chase URs, and that is locked in. The Wells Fargo autograph is locked in. I have a Green State Credit Union $200 bank account bonus. That's a local credit union only for Iowa and parts of Illinois. That posted yesterday. That's $200, which qualifies as 20,000 points for contest purposes. The Amex Blue Business Plus, my wife picked up. That's 15,000. I referred her and got 25,000. This is locked in. This is locked in. The IHG Big Spend bonus gets me $100 and 10,000 IHG points. That's not done yet, but it will be by this time next week, Lord willing. That'll be 10,000 points for the money part, for the cash. And then I value my IHG points at 0.7 of a cent each. That'll be 7,000 points, bringing me to 237,000 points. I've got 13,000 points to go. Why don't you put yours in the comment section if you are meeting this or close to meeting this, what you have done. If you'd like to, it's optional. I do also have super chats enabled now that I've reached the membership threshold. So if you wanted to throw me $2.30 or $5.12 to buy my Mountain Dew at lunch today, I would appreciate that. But don't feel obligated, of course. In terms of those remaining 13,000 points and where they're going to come from, well, I'm pretty sure they've already been taken care of because I didn't count any natural spending. There was earlier this quarter a Amex offer for an additional 5 points per dollar spent at Amazon up to 2,500. And that appeared on my wife's gold card. And we maxed that out at 2,500 points. And my Blue Business Plus, and we maxed that out at 2,500 points. So 5,000 Amex points just from that, already locked and loaded. And then I do a little bit of manufactured spending and just some quick calculations here. I have over 15,000 points of manufactured spending that I've earned in this quarter so far. Now, some of that is IHG points, which I only value at 0.7 of a cent. So I'm not exactly sure how the math works out. But since I had 13,000 to go, I got 5,000 from that Amex offer, and I got at least 10,000 from MS. If you count just natural spending, I'm sure it'll be well over the 250,000 threshold. So we're good to go there. All right, let's catch up with the chat. It's a great day, 975. Hey, welcome aboard. How you doing? By the way, I have 2 monitors going. It would make more sense to drag this window over here so I don't have to look off to the side. There we go. My eyes might go down up, but at least they won't go over. It's a great day. Good to have you on board. I'm considering doing a product change from Double Cash to the Citi Rewards Plus, assuming get approved for Venture X. Love how flexible Citi is with its product changes. Well, I agree with the part about them being flexible with product changes. As it relates to your product change, I think if you're confident you're going to keep the Capital One Venture X on an ongoing basis, that makes sense. There's some overlap with transfer partners there. One thing that just comes to the forefront of my mind that you might want to consider, not trying to talk you out of it, just a consideration. If you ever want to use Citi points, if you ever want to send your Citi points to Choice Hotels, within the Citi ecosystem, thank you points will move from a 1-to-2 ratio. Whereas with Capital One, it's only a 1-to-1 ratio to go from Capital One miles over to Choice Hotels. Not a big deal. Choice Hotels are a mixed bag. You have to be picky and choosy to get good value out of them. but that's just worth considering. But I agree. I love the flexibility. And you can always product change back a year later. Big Jim says, man, I got denied for the autograph a couple weeks ago. First time I've ever been denied. Hurt my ego a little bit. Well, sorry to hear that. Bum, bum, ba, ba. My wife applied for, what was it she applied for? An American Express everyday card, not the cash one, the points earning one. And she got the pop-up, the dreaded pop-up jail. So technically it wasn't a denial, but it felt like a denial. And that was the first ever unexpected denial that I've ran into. Oddly enough, she didn't get the pop-up when she applied for the Blue Business Plus. So there are data points out there saying that the pop-up jail criteria for personal cards and business cards with Amex are not the same. And our one data point would seem to support that, since she is in pop-up jail for personal cards, but was not in pop-up jail for a business card. I was denied for an IHG business card once. Now, later on, I got it. And the only reason I was denied for the IHG business card with Chase is because I was over 524 at the time. And that was before they got more lenient with their 524. So I'm not sure how it would go now. Cesar says, let's go. Driving, can't chat, but present. Well, keep your eyes on the road, Cesar. Good to have you on board, friend. Matt Clausen said, if only I had been working more subs this quarter. No problem. And he also says, I at least have my next two cards I'm considering. He wants to know what Big Jim's velocity was when he applied for the autograph. And Jonathan Davis says, any experience with Capital One biz cards for travel? Nope. Unfortunately, I don't have any experience with that. I had briefly thought about getting the Venture X for business, but if I remember correctly, the spend requirement for the sign-up bonus is just ludicrous. It's like $30,000 or something like that. So yeah, I haven't tried any Capital One business cards. I also know Frequent Miler and others have reported that it's the only business card that reports to your personal credit. So there's some question if it hurts 524 or not. Matt clarifies the next two cards he's considering are Ink Cash and JetBlue Business. The Ink Cash should be next on your list. Adamantly, I feel that way. JetBlue Business, I don't fly JetBlue and I don't live anywhere near an airport that would be convenient to use them, so I'll just leave that up to you. All right, well, let's turn to the community tab, and we'll see what questions were, not what questions was asked over there. When I live stream, the rest of my computer runs slow, so it's playing catch up here. We got 17 people on board. Click the thumbs up button if you've not done so already. I'd really appreciate it. That helps the algorithm. I have a few people that watch live, and I appreciate you. Usually no more than 20 to 30. Usually about 22, 23 at any given time, maybe 30 over the course of the whole live stream. And usually about 200 to 300 watch it after the fact. So the more you click the thumbs up button now, the more other people will see it. All right, so I am backing up here to read the questions. Okay. I will mention really quickly that I had a comment on a shorts video that I posted on Thursday. That was the last day of November. I used the Amex Gold dining credit through Grubhub that day. And the question/comment was from someone named Jeffrey Henderson. If you're watching, Jeffrey, thank you for commenting. You'll get the credit, but it will be for December. So we had some back and forth discussion as to whether or not the Amex Gold dining credit would be based on the date I made the purchase or the date the transaction settled. And honestly, I don't know the answer to that. It was kind of a Hail Mary desperation. part of the reason I don't love the Amex Gold's coupons is just you have to remember to use them. It's like, oh, crud, it's the last day of the month. I haven't used it yet. So data point, I'll keep an eye out and report back. If any of you have ever done that, use the Amex dining credit on the last day of the month. Did it count as the month of purchase, or did it unfortunately fall to the following month and waste it? In the community tab, Cesar Joel asks this question: how do I use my Citi points? Well, that's a good question, and I don't necessarily have a ton of answer because I've only used my Citi points for two specific purposes so far. The one that I used that was the best value was when we went to Sweden this past summer. For some reason, the choice hotels in Sweden tend to be a major sweet spot. Now, they've rebranded themselves as Strawberry Hotels, but they're still affiliated with Choice, so you can still book them with Choice points, use your Choice points, etc. It was only 10,000 points per room per night. And in my video, it's called like An American in Wales and Sweden. It's part 2 of my travel log from Europe. You can view all the details. But basically, there's kind of a mix-up with the room. I booked 2 rooms. They gave one of our rooms away by mistake, but then they redeployed us into a different room, which had bunk beds that folded into the wall for our kids. And although they would have preferred to have their own double-sized beds, they were fine with it. And we were only there for 3 nights. But because of that, I got one whole room refunded. So I really only used one room for the whole family. 10,000 points a night, 30,000 points total. Since it transfers 1 to 2 from Citi, that means I only had to use 15,000 Citi points for 3 nights in Gothenburg, Sweden, in a fairly nice hotel. And they had free breakfast and a free evening meal. So I figured I was getting somewhere around 8 cents per point when you factor in no taxes, when you factor in those free meals. And Sweden's not super cheap when it comes to food. So that really saved us a lot of money. So those are the one way I've used it so far. The other way is I did a small transfer over to Wyndham once just to kind of top up my rewards to book a Vacasa. And there was a small transfer bonus to time. I think it was 20,000 or 20%. So I transferred something like 10,000 Citi points over to Wyndham and got 12,000. Okay, I'm getting my terms mixed up. I transferred 10,000 points from Citi, thank you points, over to Wyndham, which showed up as 12,000 points because of the transfer bonus. I then used Wyndham points to book a Vacasa. So went from one ecosystem to a second to a third because Vacasa can book these, Wyndham can book these Vacasas. I think most of you know what I'm talking about. I did a video about cottages.com, which is the British equivalent of Vacasa. So that's another good use. If you don't have any of the Wyndham credit cards, you can book it for 15,000 points per bedroom per night. If you have any of their Wyndham credit cards, business or personal, it's 13,500 per bedroom per night. So that's a great value. So those 10,000 Citi points got me almost one night in a Vacasa. So there's a couple uses. There's some others that I'm sure I'll think of later. I don't even remember like right off the top of my head what the transfer partners are. If anybody online wants to say what the transfer partners are or the ones that you think are best, by all means, put that in the chat. I'll go to the website In Points We Trust. They have a chart called the Transfer Partner Matrix, and I'll come back to that. Let me catch up with the live feed chat. TH is in the house. If I remember correctly, you are my one of my 2 or 3 viewers from Minneapolis or the Minneapolis area. Oh, yeah, it says right here. I am in Minneapolis, only Delta. No JetBlue for me either. Sam says, have you ever been lucky enough to get a free upgrade to business class? I have not. When I went to Europe last summer, I paid for business class using points. PM says, jumping on quick to say hello. We'll watch the replay later. Keep up the good work. Everyone click thumbs up and consider joining the Dugroz Diehards. PM is a diehard. Thank you so much, PM. I appreciate it. Has the avatar of Grand Moff Tarkin, and we've commiserated multiple times. And someday I'm going to have a meetup in a random historical bridge in West Virginia or something like that, and he's going to come hang out with me. Thank you for jumping on board, even if briefly. All right, let's get back over to those transfer partners. We've got 15 people in the house here. All right, on the community tab, Leo Preto 74 asks this question. Given that Citi has the top premium AA Advantage credit card, the Executive World Elite, why isn't American Airlines one of Citi's travel partners? My understanding is that AA is a travel partner of the Bilt card issued by Wells Fargo. Although to give credit, they always throughout the year put out offers on the Advantage Executive card to get 5x on AA miles for easy spending categories like Amazon, Walmart, PayPal, etc. Cheers. Thank you for asking, Leo. The second half of your question about, well, it's not really a question, just more of a statement about the spending offers. If you are loyal to American Airlines and you can use that regularly, I think those are a great way to play it. I'm a free agent. I live in Des Moines, Iowa, so that's my hub airport, and it's a itty-bitty airport by most standards. There is not a single lounge. We've got Delta flights to Minneapolis, Detroit, and Atlanta once a day, maybe twice a day to Atlanta. We've got Southwest flights to St. Louis and Denver. We've got American flights to, I think, Dallas, Chicago, and maybe one other place. Allegiant Airlines, which I really don't want to use, goes to Phoenix, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and a couple places in Florida. I should also mention Southwest does seasonally fly directly to Las Vegas also. So Southwest has St. Louis, Vegas, and Denver. United flies directly to Chicago and I think Houston. And it seems like there's one or two others I'm missing. So I can't really be a loyalist to any given airline. I have a good experience with American. They fly directly to Phoenix also, which is where my in-laws live. And our family has used that once a year on average, not every year, but many. The question about why Citi isn't an American Airlines transfer partner, but Bilt is, that is a great question, and I have no idea. Citi briefly had American as a transfer partner temporarily, and it was only for like 3 months. Some viewers will see an advertisement in 43 seconds, and I apologize, I have no control over when those ads happen. Or maybe if I push this button. I don't know. All right, back to that transfer partner matrix. So Cesar had asked me how I use my Citi points. First, I will scroll down here and confirm that Bilt does transfer to American briefly. All right, back to Citi. Avianca Life Miles. I've never used those, but I know the frequent miler guys think highly of them. Ava Air, Chris Flyer, Royal Thai Orchard. No interest in those. Turkish Miles and Smiles. I've never used it, but I know Nick from Frequent Miler uses that frequently to get cheap United flights within the United States, including Alaska and Hawaii, although sometimes booking can be difficult, I've heard. Aero Mexico, never used it. Air France and KLM Flying Blue seems pretty versatile, and I probably would use that if I go back to Europe, which we would strongly consider doing in the year 2025, especially if there was a good transfer bonus. Flying Blue doesn't have the best value overall, like when you're searching for diamonds in the rough, but they do have consistently good value, and you can often find 4 seats in business. I shouldn't say often, but compared to other places, certainly. Virgin Atlantic Flying Club. Virgin Atlantic is basically just another version of Flying Blue. I would never fly on Virgin Atlantic, but you can use them to book cheap Delta flights if you can find availability, as well as you can use them to book Flying Blue, which is how I booked my return trip from Europe last summer. Not by transferring over from Citi. I transferred over from Amex. Finnair, Qantas, and Qatar. Never used those, although I know Qatar now participates in Avios, so that can be a backdoor to British or American. Emirates and Etihad, never used, even though I've heard they're swanky. JetBlue, TrueBlue, I've never used. So, yeah, are they not partners with British? I thought they were. They are not. But because they're partners with Qatar, if you do it right, you could move your points to Qatar and then from Qatar to British. British you can use to book domestic AA flights, sometimes for good value. For example, I have seen it at like 15,000 points one way or 17,500. So if the one-way cost is more than $175 one way, that would be worth doing. And living in a small market airport, if I'm going to an unusual place, that might be the case. For example, my RIP trip this coming April, I'm planning to fly into Charleston, West Virginia, which is a very small airport. I don't even know if American services them, but let's just say for the sake of example, if I want to fly from Des Moines, Iowa to Charleston, West Virginia, of course there's not a direct flight. Let's say I have a layover in Dallas. I believe it does straight line distance. So even though it's like this dip down and come back up, under $75 one way could be a great value. Chad's in the house, says, good morning, everyone, and mentions that the BA, the British Airlines cross booking, comes in clutch more often than not. Exactly the same thing I just said. So like you somehow get your airline miles over to British, whether it's directly or through Aer Lingus or through what's the Spanish airline, or through Qatar, the Spain airline. It's just not popping into my head. TH says Turkish Airlines website is old school and hard to find award bookings. I believe you have to call for bookings. Yeah, the frequent miler guys are always saying do it via email, like send an email to like 20 different local offices. Chad said that he found Hawaii flights for $5.60. Great. Glad Turkish worked out in that way. And then the hotel partners, the theme today is Citi thank you points. If you're wondering, these are the topics I'll talk about when you don't have questions, but you can ask any question. Feel free to put it in the chat. Choice transfers 1 to 2, Wyndham 1 to 1, and Accor all unlimited, or whatever it's called, is 2 to 1. I've never used Accor. The other two I already talked about. So there are your Citi transfer partners. All right, let's go back over to the community tab. TH, who is on board right now, as far as I know, asked this question: how do you use your Chase Ultimate Reward points besides transferring to Hyatt? What are your thoughts on the revamped Hilton Aspire card? Still worth it? To those two questions in order here. So as it relates to, I said I would try not to look at this monitor, and here I'm doing it a bunch because of the transfer partner matrix that I'm looking at. First, I'll talk about the Chase UR points. One that I've used is Air Canada's Aeroplan. So I have the Aeroplan credit card, and that credit card lets you pay yourself back at 1.25 cents per point. So if I have miscellaneous travel, like a parking garage, a boat tour in Sweden, a bus ride, get from the airport to the hotel or something like that, Uber, I put it on the Aeroplan card, and then I pay myself back at 1.25 cents per point for things you normally can't use points for, like local parking, local transit, that kind of stuff. But wait, there's more. If you transfer over 50,000 Chase points or more, you get a 10% bonus. So it's functionally 1.35 cents per point on those miscellaneous travel items. And there was a time earlier this year where they had a transfer bonus, which I think was 20%. So when I did the math, I was actually paying myself back at just a little over 1.5 cents per point for all that local travel. Someday I might book through Air Canada. So far, I've only used the pay yourself back feature. Now, on the credit card website, it says that under normal circumstances, you can only pay yourself back a maximum of 50,000 points per year, which would be $625 worth. Between now and July 1st of 2024, they have suspended that, so you can do it an unlimited amount. So that's a good use of Chase UR points. And Chase UR points are so easy for me to earn, with the rotating categories, with dining, with lots of different stuff, with my Ink cash card, going to Staples or Office Depot. United, I have used United on 2 occasions to book international economy flights, not for myself, but for other people, doing it as like a charity or a friendship kind of thing. One was somebody going on a missions trip. One was somebody whose mom lived overseas and was flying in for their wedding. So as a not a Christmas gift, a wedding gift, I bought one of her tickets. I bought a one-way ticket and they paid for the return trip using United Miles. Flying Blue, same thing. I've transferred to Flying Blue to use KLM, or I might use some of that locally with Delta. Same thing with Virgin Atlantic. They do transfer directly to British Air, which was the exact same trick we were talking about just a few moments ago. Oh yeah, Iberia, the Iberian Peninsula. Iberia was the transfer partner that is based out of Spain that I couldn't think of. And then let's see, Southwest. I have transferred to Southwest here and there. I know some people will say, oh, you're only getting like 1.35 or 1.45 cents per point if you transfer your UR points to Southwest. Well, hey, if it's the exact flight you need at the exact time you need it, I don't mind spending 1.35 cents per point. Having said that, I had to sit in a middle seat on my return flight from Vegas, so it's not sitting great with me right now, but I would be willing to use it. And then Hyatt. That's it for how I've used the transfer partners. I have used, not recently, but in the past, I've used the Chase portal. I have a Sapphire Preferred right now, which would get me 1.25. I've had the Sapphire Reserve in the past. Basically, my Reserve and my Preferred just bounce back and forth, whichever one's best. And like I said, don't be ashamed to use 1.25 cents per point or 1.5 cents per point. If it's the exact flight you need, at the exact place you need it, go for it. That's a pretty good value. I'd way rather pay, 7,500-ish points than $100 cash out of pocket. Thought the live stream had closed for a second. I almost freaked out. 11 people still on board. Still working through the community tab here. Sorry, I've got 4 tabs open. I got to find the correct tab. My bad, folks. Sorry about that. All right. That was TH's question. Let's see if there are any others. Sorry for the delay. I had posted a post with some fun pictures on the community tab from the Vegas Meetup where I used artificial intelligence to modify the pictures and make them kind of funny. Sledge comment on that says, I don't know why, but whenever I use AI, it never turns out good. Bobby Y says, the best I've done so far is something specific my wife wants. A 1970 Mustang Mach 1, but in our favorite colors in downtown Philly. She's from that area. Came out pretty sweet. Thanks for commenting, Sledge and Bobby. Anthony Venture commented, haha, bunch of construction workers. Chad, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I used the artificial intelligence to put you in a group of construction workers there at Italy in Vegas. I'm going to be right back, folks. I just need to step over there. I've got a fan going that's too cold, so I'm going to shut it off and come right back. Thanks for your patience. Hey, TH threw me a super chat. Thank you so much, TH. I really, really appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you for the $5. Thanks for answering my question. Love the Air Canada hack. I'm planning to execute soon. Thank you again, TH. Really appreciate that. Party down. Thank you. Sam says it's -1 degrees Celsius in the UK, so probably around 34, 35 Fahrenheit. Chad said he saw my post last night and LOL'd it. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. I know I have a dumb sense of humor, so thanks for bearing with me. If you didn't hear earlier, I will mention that my Vegas breakdown, how I paid for it, and a few pictures is going to be released soon, probably on Monday. I like to release things on Monday. I don't know why. They seem to play pretty well. I know, like, if you watch videos or read content about how to succeed on YouTube, it'll say, like, keep a regular release schedule, release on the same day every week. I do kind of sort of try to follow that, but not diligently. More just I post when I have time to make the videos and when they come out. If you join as a Dugroz diehard, I did release a video just this past week, I think 2 days ago, called The Luxury Trap, and that'll stay as a members only video. So it's a little too tingly to put out there in the public. But if you want to get in on some of my more controversial thoughts about using points and miles, feel free to become a Dugroz diehard and watch that video. Stan the Credit Frog was on the chat earlier today. I don't know if he still is, and if you are, feel free to wave or say hi. I was talking with him in the comment section of one of his videos, and it was about, I don't remember. It might have been about the Amex cards. I think he did a video about like not liking them anymore and how as soon as the 1 year runs out, he's going to use all the credits and then dump them. And I was commiserating with his thoughts on that. And I said, I'm like a Jekyll and Hyde type figure. I've got, one angel that sits on my shoulder telling me to be frugal and another angel that tells me that I really like luxury. So like I go back and forth on like high level travel or even a high quantity of travel can get you a lot of value, but then the other angel gets mad at me for spending too much on annual fees and trying to maximize credits and those kinds of things. Sam K says, during your travels, have you ever met a famous person or probably any famous people? Well, it kind of depends on what you mean by that. Famous, like all over the place, not so much. When I was in London at the Hilton Tower Bridge, which is like a 12-minute walk from the Tower Bridge, Kevin Spacey was eating lunch with a friend in the hotel's restaurant, and we sat maybe 20 feet away from him. I didn't meet him. I didn't go up to him, but just observed that. Actually took a picture over my shoulder. I'll try to find it. And what's weird is sitting in a different part of the restaurant was a paparazzi. He had one single paparazzi following him. Paparazzo. I'm not sure how you say it in the single tense. So I guess that was, kind of like meeting a famous person. It doesn't qualify as meeting, but I grew up in the town of Ottumwa, Iowa. And Ottumwa is the town that Tom Arnold grew up in. He's probably about 8 or 9 years older than me. He was married to Roseanne Barr at one time. That's kind of how he launched into being famous. And I saw him and Roseanne walking down the street right in front of Dollar General in Ottumwa once, back in the late 90s. There's my picture with Kevin Spacey. That's my shoulder. He's right there in kind of the gray suit. So, yeah, I didn't meet him, but I encountered Kevin Spacey. And then if you're wondering about famous people, like YouTube famous, I met a ton of famous people. I met Uncle Luke. I met Chad. I met Stan the Credit Frog. I met Spencer Johnson. I don't remember if I actually shook hands with Anthony Venture, but I saw him in my picture. And I do apologize to anyone that I felt like I was leaving out. There was 3 or 4 people that like I saw them at the creator meetup, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together that they were a creator until after the meetup was over. So I apologize for that. So there's my famous people run-ins. I met Senator Charles Grassley, the oldest senator in the U.S. Senate. Chad Pennycuff, a Dugroz diehard. Thanks for being a diehard, Chad, and welcome to the chat. Says 1.4 cents per point on the Southwest becomes 2.8 with a companion pass for easy to book domestic flights. That's smoking. Yeah, you can get a lot of bandwidth out of that companion pass. It's not for me because I only travel with my wife usually once a year on a big trip, so a flying trip. So, and it might be overseas, so that wouldn't really help us enough to make it worth it to me. But I know there's a podcast I listen to that's called Fly Free MD by Dr. Krutzinger, and he has specifically catered to medical professionals, although those of us who are regular old cubicle dwellers can learn a lot from it too. And he and his wife use the companion pass a lot because they do like bike races and triathlons. Oh, these people who love running, I don't get them, but I suppose, if a companion pass helps you pursue your hobby, more power to you. Matt Clausen says, I feel like Citi is the most functional card set of the bunch, but have to do some more higher level redemption schemes by using Alliance Partner for domestic flights and such, but easy earnings. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. If for the sake of day-to-day spend, just ordinary spend, I think Citi is probably the best ecosystem. And again, Jekyll and Hyde, because I put out a video once that said spending categories almost don't matter. Now, the idea was you can get a lot more points through sign-up bonuses, referrals, bank account bonuses, those kind of things than you can through day-to-day spend. Matt says I was right. Paparazzo is the singular. Sam says, sorry for the autocorrect typos. Lately, autocorrect is swapping the words or sentences around. Yeah, I feel you there. And Chad Pennycuff says, LOL, you met the credit card community creator rock stars. That's true. I even met Ask Sebi. I'm famous. Cesar Joel was there, and there was several others I'm not necessarily thinking of right now. Sledge was there. There was some guy that interviewed me and asked me what my favorite 2 cards were or something like that. And someone was filming him, and I'm not ever sure what came of that. So if any of you know who that was, let me know. All right. So I think I have reached the end of the community tab comments. So I don't have a whole lot more to go over in terms of staged questions, but we got 19 people on board. So I'll stick around a little closer to the hour and see what we can come up with. In the meantime, I'll just tell you about random stuff that's on my mind. Let me get back over to my YouTube and I'll go over my content and see what's been popular, what's been recommended, so on and so forth. So one thing that's interesting is on my YouTube Creator Studio, where it tracks like your analytics and those kind of things. For a long time, it was like 70% non-subscribers, 30% subscribers. Recently, it's moved to more even, like 50-50. And I think that's because I'm doing once a week live streams. The people who watch my live streams are 90% subscribed to my channel, which makes sense. I mean, I don't hop on live streams for people that I'm not subscribed to very often, maybe never. So that's just an interesting observation. Towards the end of the year, I will plan to, not a promise, but I'll plan to do a video of how much money I made on YouTube in 2023. Right now, it's still not very much. In the month of November, I made about $90, which is the most I've ever made in a month, which is better than nothing. Let's keep it rolling. With inflation, I can use every penny, that's for sure. So I put out a video called Amex cards are Hilton cards, indicating that if you're just looking for straight up earning power, you will actually earn more points by using the business gold and the consumer gold and then transferring over to Hilton. That card generated some good discussion, and that's the main thing I want. So even if you don't agree with me, that's totally fine. But that got a decent reception with 379 views so far. I did a members only video about rental car versus rideshare. I did a couple videos about about credit card unpopular opinions, sort of the hot takes video. I did a card about the Hilton Surpass and how I'm evaluating that for both myself and recommending it to my sister. I never came back around to my discussion about cards to get. So tentatively, here's my roadmap for late part of 2023 into the early part of 2024. So like I said, I will probably sign up for the Citi double cash soon just to get that sign up bonus since it is limited time. If you know when it ends, let me know. Since they're somewhat inquiry sensitive, a couple people suggested of the 3 cards I'm interested in, I go for it first. Excuse me, folks. Baby Yoda. My son got that for Christmas last year, I think. Second up, after getting the double cash, will be the targeted offer I got for the business gold from Amex. Whether or not it's a keeper card is TBD. Because you can get the $20 a month credit by going to Staples and buying third-party gift cards, I don't think it'll bother me as much to use the credit on this as it is with the consumer gold. But we'll have to see. This targeted offer for $150K for me ends on the last day of the year. So I have to do that before December 31st. I want to be able to, I would say double dip, but get 1 extra month of credits. So I would apply for it maybe around December 10th to 15th. That way I can use it right away in December. I can then use the credit again in December of 2024. And as long as I cancel within that 30-day window, the first few days of January 2025, I can use it again. So I can actually get 13 months of the offset credit. So that's why I want to do that before the end of the year. Well, plus the 150,000 Amex points. That's nothing to sneeze at. I'd be stupid not to, right? If anyone thinks I shouldn't do this deal, put a comment and let me know. And then lastly would be the Hilton Surpass. I think that's the sweet spot for sign-up bonus of the revamped 3 different Hilton personal cards. Somebody had asked in the community tab earlier if I think the Aspire is still worth it. For me, I really like corn. I think it's not worth it. By the way, do any of you know why I sometimes say I really like corn after saying for me? If you do, put a comment. I want to see if anybody else picks up on the reference. Anyhow, for me, I don't think the Aspire card is worth it because I would probably only stay in a Hilton resort like at most once every other year. So I would only be able to use half of the resort credit. And I would maybe stay 7, 8 nights in a Hilton overall throughout the year. So, and it's more likely to be like a roadside Hampton Inn or a Garden Inn or something like that. Now, this coming summer, I might stay in Washington, D.C. at the Conrad or the Estates. Not Estates. Oh, Cesar. I always say it wrong. It's the something by Hilton. What am I thinking of? It starts with an E. Embassy Suites by Hilton. I don't know why I can never think of that. So I'd get good value there. I want to keep the gold status going. I'm probably going to cancel my business platinum, so that's a way to lock in gold status. And I think I'll get enough value out of it. It'll probably be a keeper card, but I can't guarantee it. The Hilton gold status alone for the dining credit or free breakfast overseas probably makes it worthwhile. Now, back to the original question from Leo Preto on the community tab, is the Aspire worth it? For me, it's not. But if you're staying at like 2 Hilton resorts a year, even if they're short stays, it's almost certainly worth it. Or if you're going to for sure be hitting like a big time Hilton in the French Riviera or in the Maldives or in Bora Bora or, directly underneath the Eiffel Tower or something like that might be worth it. For me, I'm doing a lot of Hampton Inns, a lot of Hilton Garden Inns, that kind of stuff. So I think the Surpass is a much better fit. So I'll probably plan to apply for that sometime in January before the elevated sign-up bonus ends. I don't remember when that is. It might be middle of January to early part of February. If anybody knows, put it in the comments. Also, Stan the Credit Frog pointed out, and there's another YouTuber I just started watching recently. I can't remember his name. I think the last name is Chen, Chen. Caught a couple of videos of his, which were really good, and I didn't even know about this creator until recently. He and Stan the Credit Frog both said, based on how Amex is starting to do their family of cards, usually you cannot get the lower sign-up bonus if you've already had the higher sign-up bonus. So in theory, you would want to go with the Honors No Annual Fee card for Hilton, then the Surpass, then the Aspire. Although they haven't enforced the family language on the Hilton cards yet, I bet it's coming. In fact, right around the time those elevated offers expire, like in January, February, I bet that's probably coming. So it'd make more sense to get the lower cards first. I'll probably never really get the Honors card. So for me, it makes sense to do the Surpass now, get that sign-up bonus. Sometime in the future, if there's an elevated offer, then get the Aspire. Of course, this is all just guessing on how they're going to do their stuff, how they're going to handle their family rules, if they handle family rules at all. Back over to the live stream chat to see what people have to say. TH asks, any plans for considering Saver One in the future? Probably not. I mean, I know there's the maximum of 2-card rule with Capital One. And thank you for asking about Capital One, because I was going to come back to that anyway, and I totally forgot. Right now, I have 2 Capital One cards. I have a Venture One, which is my oldest credit card. It's from the year 2000. It originated as a non-rewards card and migrated into being a Venture One card over the years. So I'm keeping that just for length of credit history right now. Plus, it's fun, to say I got a credit card before 9/11 happened. The other one is a Venture X. Now, I have gone into the thing online multiple times. I do it about every 3 months. I did it just yesterday with Capital One, where you can see if you are pre-approved for any card changes that you can make automatically, product changes. They will not let me change to the Saver One. I want to. So it would have to be a new sign-up bonus. And based on my 2 other cards, they won't let me get a 3rd card. Now, that's the official rule, but I've heard other people say it's not really a rule. It's like 524. There are ways of getting around it. Some people have been able to sign up for 3 different Capital One cards. So whether or not that's the case, I don't know. So yeah, I would consider the Saver One. But on the bigger topic of Capital One, I've been thinking about dumping my Venture X and my Capital One setup altogether because it doesn't really give me any earnings value. I don't need 2X a lot, although we use it on everything. I have lots of other ways of getting at least 2X. On pretty much everything, I get more than 2X. But I just can't find a better way to get lounge access. So with the Venture X, you get all the Priority Pass lounges, all the Premier lounges, and the proprietary Capital One lounges. I was in the Capital Lounge one in Dallas once, and it sure was nice. And with limited flights out of Des Moines, one of them being Dallas, one of them being Denver, maybe I'd be dumb to dump it. So I'm still brewing that over, but the needle had gone to like 70% dumping Capital One. Now it's come back to more like 55% keeping Capital One. So let me know what you guys think, if I should dump Capital One or not. I just really don't like being forced to take $300 out of my, $400 out of my savings account for travel every year to pay the annual fee. I have a rule based on philosophy that travel should always pay for itself. So even though I get the 10,000 Capital One points for free every year with Venture X, which is good. That I'm okay with. But the $300 that has to be used in their portal, it's basically like saying, hey, take $300 out of your pocket and use it to buy a coupon that can only be used through the Capital One portal. don't love that. I've used it both years. I just don't love using my cash back in that way. So if it wasn't for the lounge access, I would definitely dump my Capital One cards. But since it has the lounge access, maybe I'll keep it. I got behind on my live stream. Sam says, would you consider doing international food tasting and comparing to the U.S. equivalent? Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to consider it. But I don't know if you mean like an official contest or just like by going to different countries and making videos about how the food tastes. I would do the second one. Sledge is on board. Salute, everybody. Sledge is here. Good to see you, my man. He loves the unpopular opinion video. All right, Chad Pennycuff asked, what's the $20 credit about? I'm assuming you're referencing back to this guy, the newly revamped Business Platinum. Well, I have a little flyer right here that'll help explain that. So you get $240 a year in credits. Of course, they are doled out monthly, so it's $20 a month. And you can use it on FedEx, Grubhub, or that last logo, my 720p camera's not picking up well, says office supply stores. So basically, you can walk into Staples or Office Depot once a month, buy a third-party gift card, and cover that charge. In my household, we use Amazon enough that that's basically legal tender. So I would probably most months just buy an Amazon.com gift card for $20. And there's a Staples right in the main shopping area of the town I live in, so it's not hard to get to. So that's what that's about. Sledge asks or states, I literally just got a 48 pack of K-Cups from Staples with the Business Gold credit. That's another way to use it. I don't drink coffee. So like when people say like, here, take this super chat, which are enabled, by the way, go buy a cup of coffee. I would say if you give me $2.30, I would rather buy a Mountain Dew with that or a cup of milk. Matt Clausen said he got an upgrade offer for the Surpass. I got an upgrade offer for the Surpass. Whoops, double post. Do you mean going from the Honors to the Surpass or from the Surpass to the Aspire? Either way, that's awesome. Sledge says a lot of regular hotels are actually classified as resorts, so they can charge that resort fee. That's true. I'm guessing the Hampton Inn just off I-80 in Gretna, Nebraska probably isn't classified as a resort. But who knows? Maybe one of those in Washington, D.C. are. Sledge also says at this time, I would go in order with any Amex card. I've already gotten all of the Hilton bonuses. Haha. Good point. I think I'll still do the Citi double cash first, just to be on the safe side, because it seems like Amex is less sensitive to velocity. Matt says he's contemplating leaving Capital One overall. Well, we're in the same boat. Do business cards count in the Capital One 2-card limit? I'm sorry, Chad, I don't know the answer to that, but that's a great question. Matt says he doesn't think so. Chad says, yeah, but every time I shop rental cars, Capital One portal has the best prices. Tucking that away. Thank you. A question I have is, if you have a card like the Venture X, like the Altitude Reserve, like the Sapphire Reserve, that gives primary rental car coverage, to get the primary coverage, do you have to book directly with the rental car company? Or are you allowed to book through a portal and still get the primary coverage? Back to the Business Gold. Chad says, good to know. I buy Disney gift cards. Chad, are you the fellow that the other Chad, Chad's Money Minute, mentioned in a recent live stream or video of someone that does a lot of content around Disney? Was that you? Or are you just a guy who likes Disney? Matt Clausen says, from Honors to Surpass, 50K points, 3K spend. I'd rather get a new Surpass. Yeah, that's what I would say, Matt. Just sign up for the Surpass after you've gotten that Chase business card that you should get. Chad Pennycoff says, that's me, my DVC points. Hey, how you doing, Chad? I think Now my brain hamster has to really spin on the wheel. I think I met you at the creator meetup after hours when we went over to Shake Shack. Does that sound right? And you said something like, "Oh, you probably don't know me unless you're really into Disney," or something like that. Good to see you again, if that's the case. Thank you so much for being a diehard. Yep, hey, we have met in person. So there's another famous person that I've met, Chad Pennycuff, big time YouTube star. Hey, we're at the 1 hour mark, so we're almost there. What was the thing that I said I was going to come back to? Nobody has mentioned about getting the reference to really liking corn yet. Oh, that's all right. If you stick around to the very end of the video, if nobody brings it up, I'll bring it up. Sorry, folks. I'm not good at navigating around. Oh, here we are. Okay. I'm not enough of a techie. I use computers in my job. I'm not like a super high tech guy. So I only know how to live stream where I use the built-in features on YouTube. I don't know how to share my screen while live streaming. Even the editing software they use, it's called WeVideo, WeVideo, is pretty, kind of like video editing for dummies, and it actually works just fine. When I was at the creator meetup, there was a guy that I met who lived, I think, in the Atlanta area, and his name might have been Justin. If I'm wrong, I apologize. If you're on this chat, please speak up. A younger fella, probably in his 20s, I'm guessing, who has a day job, but then for a side job works with like independent video makers, like independent movie editing, that kind of stuff. And his comment to me was, I literally work in video editing. For credit card YouTubers, no one is watching your channel because of the awesome quality of the editing. We're here to hear what you have to say. So while, things like stock footage and pictures are fun, just get the content out there. So I'm not too worried about my edits. I just want to get the content out there. If you disagree or agree, by all means, let me know. If you are getting into content creation and you want like a really simple video editing platform, let me know. I do have a refer a friend link for WeVideo. I think it's like, don't quote me on this, somewhere around $200 for an entire year with unlimited access to stock footage. And they have a lot of stock footage. It's the same kind of stock footage that Uncle Luke uses. I don't know if it's the exact same program, but a lot of our stock footage looks pretty identical. Anyway, other things that I had been talking about on my channel recently, a lot of thinking about Hilton, that kind of stuff. I took Sledge's challenge to rank my credit cards from worst to best back in late October, just about a week before Halloween. That got over 1,500 views, which is a lot for me. I did a video about my autograph card. That got almost 800 views, and that went pretty well. I did a video called The Easy Use of Hyatt Points, Chase to Hyatt for a Weekend Stay, talking about how I took my son to a football game about 2.5 hours away. We spent the night in a Hyatt. It was like 8,000 points. It's so easy to use Hyatt points for those low-end, one-night road trip type stays. I love those super ultra simple redemptions, but apparently the audience doesn't because it only got 183 views. And then that goes back to my What's in My Wallet third quarter video. I usually wait till the last month of my quarter to do my What's in My Wallet video because I prefer to do it like as a retrospective rather than looking ahead. I think I saw someone the other day who had already released their What's in My Wallet first quarter 2024 video. And I'm like, come on, man. A little side rant, and this is just a side rant. And I want to just put out a disclaimer first. I really hope this doesn't offend anyone because I don't mean for it to. The great thing about YouTube is you can create whatever content you want. But someone in one of my Die Hard Only videos said there's too much groupthink that goes on in the creator community. Not so much amongst you guys, my online friends like Stan and Chad and Luke and Sledge and other people, us littler guys, this doesn't really happen. But the big time content creators, like over 100,000 subscribers, don't get me wrong, I'd love to get there, so I'm not trying to put them down. They have to really play to a very broad audience. So there tends to be kind of a lot of groupthink where everyone says the exact same thing. And in one of those videos, this is a guy who has, I think, close to 150,000 subscribers, if not more. I won't say who. He said two things in the video that I'm like, I don't agree with that. As sort of like one of those everybody knows statements. I don't remember what one of them was, but one of them he said, of course, you should never get a credit card just for the sign-up bonus. And I'm like, why not? I think getting a credit card just for the sign-up bonus is one of the absolute best things you can do if you're a maximizer. Now, I understand if you're like a regular Joe, who only wants like a maximum of 4 credit cards, like my sister, I recommended the Surpass card to her. She'll probably keep it forever. She'll probably spend $15,000 a year on it if she pulls the trigger. That's a whole different subject. And get the free night certificate. But to say you should never sign up for a card just for the sign-up bonus, I'm like, yeah, actually, sometimes you should. And I admit, I prefer keeper cards that help build a long-term strategy. But one of the best, most successful return on spends I've ever done was with the Amex Business Green card. Now, Sledge will back me up here. That card is trash. It's not just trash, it's triple trash. It belongs in the garbage. But the reason I signed up for the Amex Business Green card, it was the first business card I got from Amex, was because it had a targeted offer where for each authorized user that you added, you could get an extra, I think it was 20,000 points if you added an authorized user and spent at least $5,000. And then in addition to that, it happened that these circumstances lined up perfectly, that there was a refer a friend where instead of just giving you a lump sum, they gave you 5 extra points per dollar, or maybe it was 4 extra. No, I think it was 5 extra points per dollar every dollar you spent. And that transferred through to the authorized user cards. So what that means is while I was spending $5,000 to get that sign-up bonus anyway, I was functionally getting 6 points per dollar on all of those purchases of $5,000 or more, which was 30,000 points per person, plus the extra 25,000. So for every authorized user that I signed up and spent, and I said authorized user, additional employee cards I signed up and spent $5,000 on, I got $55,000. So over the course of like 5 or 6 months, I made both of my kids employees, which is weird because at the time it let me do that. Now it won't. My wife and both of my parents. So 55,000 times 5 is 275,000. And then the original, I think it was 25,000 point sign-up bonus. I made 300,000 points just by signing up for the Amex Business Green card. That was the best sign-up bonus I'd ever had, even though it wasn't just a regular sign-up bonus. And you know what I did after the first year? I dumped that trash card. So, yeah, sorry for my little soapbox speech, but someone saying you should never sign up for a card just for the sign-up bonus. I'm like, no, that opinion is just plain wrong. So thanks for listening to my rant. We're over an hour now, so I will wrap it up soon. Okay, Sam thanks me for the live stream. Sean Ly or Lee is on board, L-Y. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Welcome aboard, Sean. Don't think I've seen you before. If I have, I don't remember it, so I'm glad to have you here. Are you in the Wells Fargo ecosystem with their upcoming travel partners coming up? Yes, I am. I have had a Wells Fargo signature Visa card. That's the one that has the black background with gold trim and a stagecoach running across it since 2007, 2008, somewhere in that range. That card doesn't do anything spectacular except it has one superpower, which gives you 1.5 cents per point in their portal for flights. So I am keeping that probably forever. And then I recently signed up for the autograph card, which I would show off if I had it with me, but I don't. So like on the 3x categories and the autograph, I can send it over to my Visa signature. I don't even have to send it over. The points are pooled. And functionally, I'm getting 4.5 cents per point if I use it towards flights in that way. So I am in the ecosystem. So I'm very excited to see what the Wells Fargo transfer partners are. I know information leaked out and was on Doctor of Credit. I know Matt Clausen, shout out, big time YouTuber, talked about it, and some others. The Wells Fargo autograph journey is coming out. It has the 60,000 point sign up bonus, a $95 annual fee. We're not sure if it's going to replace the autograph or not. At this point, Wells Fargo, I'll believe it when I see it. So I'm not even going to worry about or comment on that new card until you tell us the transfer partners, which should be, in theory, in 10 days. I believe the Dugroz reports team broke that news, that they were delaying the transfer partners from November to December 10th. Matt says Wells is getting on his nerves. We're aware. All right. TH says, tell us about the corn reference. So there's a YouTube video out there that went viral. It's called something, I don't remember the exact name, Tariq the Corn Boy or something like that. And there's a catchy song that someone named called It's Corn. I'm sure that was terrible audio quality, but you'll notice the beginning of the song, he says, for me, I really like corn. So anytime I say for me, I can't help but think I really like corn. So there you go. Sledge said the ranking video is great and thanked me for participating. You're welcome, Sledge. Salute. YVJ Yang, welcome aboard. YVJ, glad to see you here. Not sure if you're new, but if you are, thanks for joining in. Are you looking to try Citi's new partner, Leading Hotels of the World Redemption? Not really. If it happens to work out somewhere I'm going, great. I don't think I can get a free hotel out of it. I know like on Fine Hotels and Resorts, or what's the other one they have? I think theirs is called Hotels of the World too. Whichever one is the one-day one. The best I ever did was staying at a hotel in downtown Minneapolis where, I got it down to like $150 net after all the credits and stuff. It impressed my wife and she got a free massage. So I got some husband points. So that was worth it. But in terms of most of my travels, it doesn't really fit. Thanks for asking, though. Jesus is on board. Welcome, Jesus. He's been a subscriber for a long time, and I really appreciate him. I really like your avatar with the what I assume is the California bear on there. Says, what's in my wallet? No money is in my wallet. Yeah, bummer. I've got, if we're talking cash, I've got, oh, hey, man, I'm loaded. This is more cash than I usually have. $22. If you're a Dugroz diehard and you happen to see my video about the luxury trap, I posed for the picture with this money in my hand, like some ones and fives, and then I told the AI to change it in $100 bills, so it looks like I'm holding like hundreds of dollars. Matt Clausen says 5-to-1 thank you points is a tough pill. I'm not sure what you're referencing there, Matt. I apologize. Maybe you can clarify. Chad Pennycuff says, and I think this is about the rant I had about big-time content creators. They don't pitch sub chasing because they have commercial links from the issuers and are on their radars. They don't want their links taken away. Oh, makes sense. So it's like, I don't know. I wonder how much that's true because like Frequent Miler is my favorite blog and favorite podcast. And they seem totally open about it. I haven't heard them, I don't know, maybe they're just not afraid of getting shut down, but they'll say things like, yeah, you can sign up for as many Chase Ink cards as you want as long as you're in 524. Just churn them over and over. But that's a good point. Yeah, I could see, and I don't know, boys. Okay, let's all get back here together someday in the future. If I have over 100,000 subs and I sold out, feel free to call me out on it. Hopefully I won't. Ryan's in the house. Welcome aboard, Ryan. Haven't seen you before, at least don't remember it, so welcome aboard. Any thoughts on a card to get F9 a car purchase? It's probably just supposed to be for a car purchase. I'm going to pay the down payment with a card between 5 and 10K, thinking over the Amex Business Platinum. I think you're thinking the right thing. Sign up bonus. I don't think there's any card you're going to get that's like, I've never seen a category bonus for local car dealership. So I think this would be a fine choice or something like it. I think you have to hit $10,000 in spend in the first 3 months to get there. So it is a little on the steep side. If you are like a business owner or you have a ton of natural spend, I would consider the Venture X for business from Capital One. Although for most regular hamburger Joes, that's pretty hard to hit. But that's awesome. I did put $3,000 on a credit card when I bought my wife's car back in 2017. That was one of my first ever Dugroz Reports video. It's called Buying a Used Car Out of State or Buying a Kia Sorento Out of State, something like that, if you want to catch it. Sledge says, I mainly get cards for the sub. Amex Business Card is trash. Amex Business Green. Yeah, it totally is. But I got it for the sub because the annual fee was waived in the first year. The annual fee was not waived in the first year when I got it, but it was still worth it for 300,000 membership reward points. TH says, I remember now. That is hilarious. Probably talking about Tariq the Corn Boy. Matt Clausen says, Autograph Journey isn't replacing the autograph card, and transfer partners will be on the autograph. Yeah, I have to follow up for that. Wow, but you got some sort of insider track there, Matt? That's awesome. I'm still not sure what your 5-to-1 comment was. 5-to-1 thank you points being a tough pill. YouTube Experiment says, watching but in the background. Thanks for watching. All right, well, that's the end of the comments, and we are now at 1 hour and 17 minutes. I'm going to meet a friend for lunch. So, Brian, if you're watching, I'll be ready soon, and I'll send you a text message. Otherwise, thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you especially to the Dugroz diehards. I really appreciate it. Thanks again to TH for the big-time super chat for throwing me $5. I really appreciate that. Briefly, I'll mention Matt clarifies 5-to-1 is luxury hotels of the world. So 5 thank you to 1 luxury hotels of the world. Okay, I got it now. So I think I might have conflated 2 different things, and I apologize if I did. I was thinking Citi had something like Fine Hotels and Resorts. Maybe that was Capital One, where you can book like an upscale hotel room for a night or two and get like $100 on-site credit, a free breakfast, a guaranteed upgrade, something like that. As I think about that a little more, I think I was getting that mixed up with Capital One, so I apologize. I do remember hearing on Frequent Miler that they added a transfer partner called Luxury Hotels of the World, and it transfers 5-to-1. I think Greg, the Frequent Miler, said if you do the math, it works out to something like 1.25 or 1.35 cents per point, and it's kind of a fixed value, so there's really no way to get outsized value. So yeah, I don't think it's something I would be using. I'm not necessarily a luxury hotel person. Like I said, other than that one exception in Minneapolis. I can't remember what that hotel in Minneapolis was called. Maybe TH or one of my other Twin Cities viewers can help me out real quick here. I'll do a quick search on my phone, and it'll maybe remind me. Minneapolis. There it is. Well, that's a picture of it, but I can't remember what it's called. Ivy? Hotel Ivy, I think is what it is. Yeah, so that was awesome. All right, guys, we'll put a ribbon on it and call it good at 1 hour and 19 minutes. Thank you for being on board. Thank you to those of you who are diehards. Yes, Hotel Ivy. Thanks, TH. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button if you've not done so already. And in the off chance you're not a subscriber, please consider becoming one. I would appreciate it. And as always, may your spending be frugal and may your points be plenteous. Thanks, everyone.